Hey everyone, Reverend Dr. Katie here, and I am coming to you live today to talk about a question that appears a lot across the spiritual spectrum. I know I've asked it, I'm sure some of you have asked it too, which is, what does it mean? This is such a natural question, and I see it appear a lot in our group, and from just other people too who are asking good questions when they see a lot of synchronicities, or they see a sign, or an animal crosses their path, or something appears in their spiritual purview, and then the first question often that we ask is, well, what does that mean? And we reach out and we kind of frantically search, we Google, we go to resources, we go to books, and we say, what does that mean? And so I'm kind of curious how many of you have had this experience. You're curious what something means. There's nothing wrong with that curiosity. But then you search out, I don't know, like 100 different answers, and you have 100 different possibilities. And some of them resonate kind of, but then not really. And you end up after a couple of hours, couple of days, couple of months, you end up actually not knowing what it means at all. And so you've asked the question, and then you kind of do this needle in a haystack kind of search in order to try to find out what it means, and then in the end you actually still don't know what it means. And so if you've ever had this happen, raise your hand. I know I certainly have. And so this is actually a question that is the very final one to ask, not the first. So as we're becoming sensitive and attuned and spiritually aligned with all of the metaphysical realities around us, with all of the spiritual realities that are out there, and you're receiving messages and you're getting confirmations and you're starting to see synchronicities, and you're wondering what that all means. What does it mean is actually the very final question, not the first one to ask. So I would much rather you ask, how do I feel when I experience these synchronicities or when I notice them? What's going on within me? And you can start to do your own self-assessment. And you can start to, once you get your hands on some tools, you learn some facility, you can start to sort of ask yourself, what does my chakra system say about these synchronicities? Where are other messages coming to me? Where are other messages coming through in my in my 3D world, in my external world, that are validating, that are confirming, that are pushing me? And this invites us into the interior journey. So this is something that you guys hear me say a lot. The external signs, they're only external signs. I mean, that's really all they are. They don't mean anything in and of themselves, except that they invite us to go on an inward journey. So the sign, if you go look up in a book, what does this kind of bird mean? It's not going to tell you anything. It's going to tell you something that may or may not be right for you. It means absolutely nothing without you going inward and doing that interior inward journey, because the real question is not what does it mean? The real question is, what does it mean to you? And your set of life experiences is going to have a huge say in what it means. So there's absolutely no one size fits all about the meaning of different signs, even of angel cards, of animals that cross our path, even of messages that come through. So the very moment that we say, my meaning has to be your meaning, the meaning dissolves, right? It ceases. That's where it ceases to even have any meaning, because it's very, very individualized. When we reach and push too much, then we're going to find meanings that are very unsatisfactory, and they're going to be very non-essential to us. So it's really, really important that we always derive meaning within the own context of our own framework, that we can seek outside sources to help us. But basically, a book of symbol, a book of meaning is not going to be very accurate, because it's going to be too broad and too general for you and your awesome self, because you have all this interior stuff going on, and you need to sort of match that with what's going on with you in your journey, and match that with your own resonance of all this other, of all the spiritual realities that are out there. So the good news is they're all out there. They're all here to help us. They're all here to bring us into the fullness of ourselves. So let me encourage you to not ask, what does it mean? But instead to ask, what does this feel like? And learn those interpretive skills for yourself. And this is one of the things I help people do. So when I start to work with people individually and in groups, I love helping people make sense out of the symbols, out of the synchronicities that are occurring for them. So let me give an example. A snake, someone says a lot of snakes have crossed my paths. Well, that can mean fear to some people. It can mean rebirth and renewal because of the shedding of skin to others. It can mean sexuality. It's often a symbol of male sexuality to others. It can mean all three things at once or none of those. If you have a phobia of snakes, we have to take that into account. If you have a love of snakes, we have to take that into account. So there's no one universal, this means that. So stop searching for it. It's natural. It's totally natural to want to search for it, but no reason to search for it. So it's the resonance with you that matters the most. And someone who's skilled in kind of guiding someone through the range of possibilities can help them uncover what that means for them. So we're not about a one size fits all here. We're about a unity, and we're about that individual expression of meanings and of signs and of symbols. So I'm hoping that resonates and that will help sometimes with the questions of what does it mean, especially if we ask what does it mean out of a place of fear. Like if we have fear that something's come across our paths a bunch of times and we look it up and we say, oh, well, that symbol means it's something negative and now I'm in trouble, right? That's not approaching it from the place of curiosity that we actually need to approach making meaning in our spiritual lives from. And that will color everything that you find out about that because you're expecting something negative, you're expecting something bad. But if we approach it with the sense of curiosity of what is this telling me that I need to know right now about my spiritual reality, then we can tap into chakra system, we can tap into angels, we can tap into our guides, we can tap into our prayer life, we can tap into our dream life, we can tap into our past lives. Like all of those are available to help you make meaning out of all the things that are coming forward to you. That's what I love to help people do. So those of you who really want a one size fits all, sorry about the bad news, but the good news is the journey is what is awaiting you. That's where you actually make meaning. That's where you find out meaning. That's where it starts to make sense in your own life and really builds and blossoms into something really cool, and really, really amazing for your own life. So if that's all making sense, that's resonating with you, you're like, I want to learn how to do that. Be in touch. Just reach out to me via PM to say, I'm ready. I want to learn, and we'll set up a sort of strategy session to figure out what are your next steps in order to be able to do that. And so that's why I love helping people do that and make meaning in all sorts of fun ways. So, all right, I'm going to look at the comments real quick. Hey, everyone. Good to see you. Okay, so some people saying lots of things are being crossing their paths with repetition. Me too. Yeah, it happens to me all the time too. All right, everyone. So it's good to see all of you who are here live. Hey, hey, hey. It's great to see you. And I will go ahead and sign off for now and just reach out anytime and I will talk to you soon.